Stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned. I'm here with the coach, John Brent.
And I'm here with the vet, Ian Griffin. How you doing, man?
Man, I am doing great. It's a beautiful day in East Texas. How are you doing?
I'm glad it's not storming. The little sunshine's out. It's a little hot out. But, hey, I'd rather be hot than cold, and I'd rather be sunshine than raining. So, hey, let's do this. I got to talk about this Georgia, folks.
Yeah, so let's ask this question. What in the wild world of sports is freaking Major League Baseball doing?
They went emotional 101. Boom.
Yes, they did. You know, they didn't even read the bill. They didn't even do a side-by-side comparison. And what astonished me of all this is they have high-paid lawyers. I mean, very high-paid lawyers that should be reading those things. And now what's come out is the pressure from Stacey Abrams is what I heard today is what caused them to move. Although she's come out and said, hey, don't boycott my businesses here because, you know, these are my people and I don't want to do all that. So I don't know. You know, I think she's double talking, Coach. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, these politicians got to stop. I mean, AOC just about 2 years ago did the same thing with Amazon, trying to put pressure on Amazon about being in New York, cost 10,000 jobs there in her area. Now, this ridiculousness that just happened from a figure I heard today, Vet could cost them $100 million for Atlanta because of this ridiculousness. I mean, you want to help the people? Talk about it. You want to hurt the people? Protest it, send it somewhere else. I mean, you're not helping your people at all.
Yeah, Coach. And the other thing I'll say is the president, he stimulated all this. He perpetuated all this. And I heard the best thought process in regards to the president. He's still thinking he's a senator where he can voice his opinion like Chuck Schumer, and it don't mean crap, or Nancy Pelosi, a congresswoman, and it don't mean crap. But he's the president, and when he voices his opinion, he's no longer a senator, so he needs to act like the president because it has consequences when he opens his mouth. And that's exactly what helped drive this also was him loosely opening that mouth.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, one of the things that when he did that, he came out and, you know, Jim Crow 2.0 and this and that. And then, you know, the Washington Post is one of the most liberal newspapers in our country. They come out and give this guy 4 Pinocchios. The media starts talking about it just a little bit. He has a chance to clean that up, to protect his integrity and protect what was right. And he doubled down on a lie. I mean, he straight up total lie, doubled down on it. And the liberal media don't call him out. They think he's the best thing since sliced bread Obama.
Yeah, Coach. And like you said, with the Washington Post, when they gave him the 4 Pinocchios, and then he called it Jim Crow 2.0, and so did Stacey Abrams. She referred to it as Jim Crow. That diminishes what actually went on in the Jim Crow era that the Democratic Party voted for and the Democratic Party supported.
Absolutely.
It just washes all that down like, oh, it really wasn't all that. You know, it's just kind of like how it is now. No, it was significant back then, and it was oppression. This here is you disagree with the law because, let's face the facts, your party couldn't pass the damn law, so they did, okay? And you're jealous up in Congress because Congress can't get no laws passed except one party side. Bottom line is, if you don't like the law, okay, there's parts of it you might not like, but there's nothing that oppresses a race by itself in there whatsoever. And we covered this in our last podcast that we did. You know, there's nothing about the water. Hey, bring your water. Nobody told you couldn't bring your water. Come on now. Be prepared. I mean, when you go to church, you bring your Bible. Come on now. And then I've heard some people say, you know, well, when it comes to the law, what about the poor old people? Well, I'll tell you, the poor old people are pretty well prepared most of the time, and most of them I know. You know, I just kind of relate to it as going to church is when you pick up Mrs., I don't know, Smith to take her to church because she's 95 years old, she brings her purse, she brings a bottle of water, and she brings her Bible. I'm sorry, do the same thing, you know? What do you think, Coach?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, people are prepared, especially older people. They've lived life, they're mature, they understand, you know, these things. It's like having an ID to vote. Every older person, every person in this country can get an ID. and every person in this country in some of these places can get an ID. Even Georgia's governor came out camp and said, my God, we made it so if you don't have an ID, we'll give you one for free. So how's that messing with people when you're giving them an ID for free? And, you know. You can't. I wrote an article last week on the Coach's Thought about that, where it's like, I listed only like 8 or 10, maybe 12 things that you have to have an ID for. And that's just a small list of 30 or 40 things in this world you have to have an ID for. The thing with the water is crap. Everybody, if it's hot outside, you grab a bottle of water if you go to the park, if you go to the game, if you go stand in line. And you know what? Give me a break. I'm sick and tired of hearing about everything's racism. All it is their default as a liberal. You get emotional. Why? The Republicans are nothing but racist. No, what you are is you do not do anything but call racism.
So, Coach, this is what I'll say is, think about if the Democrats would address this bill and the president would address this bill without throwing the word Jim Crow or racism in there. If you think about that, then they would have got no support, none whatsoever. So what did they have to do? Let's go fear-mongering. We know our people are so damn stupid that they will not read the damn thing. So we'll tell them whatever it is. That's their mindset, not mine. I think America's more intelligent than that. But that's what they think is my people that follow me will not ever read it. And we got examples of that. I mean, we had a feed just on the Facebook where I believe him no matter what. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me after he'd been called out, And they believe that. They believe that. And I got an article coming out that's called, you can't handle the truth. If I tell you the lie long enough, you will definitely believe it because I am the epitome of the Democratic Party and my lies are your truth. That's exactly what it is. So they had to throw racism in there because that's the only thing that would garner any attention to show displeasure to it. If they would have took that out and read the bill, there ain't no racism in there. And then they would have been like, oh, shucks, we have to just shut our mouths up and move on is what it amounts to.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because if you actually read the bill or read the actual components of the bill, they actually expanded hours, expanding some of the things that had been issues in the past. They only had, they're talking about these drop boxes. They didn't even have drop boxes for decades. They had them because of the pandemic. So since the pandemic is not going to be such an issue going forward, they're still having the dang boxes. They're just limiting them back because more people in Georgia. And I looked at a stat the other day, 95% of Georgians before the pandemic voted at the polls. So once the pandemic is over, people are going to go back and do what they like to do. They like to go and be a part of the process. And you know what? It's just crap. You're right. Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and Biden, Abrams, Omar, when something comes up that Republican does that they doesn't like, they default racism, phobia, and poor old kids on the border and anything to just strike the emotions. Because I'll be honest with you, liberals don't read. They listen to MSNBC and they listen to CNN and they listen to these idiots. They go, oh my God, this is what's going on. What's going on is you're not educating yourself, people. Educate, read the bill, sheep.
Yes. So, Coach, what I'll say here is the Republicans would have passed the bill. It says we will allow all Democratic representatives to go to your house and take the ballot themselves, and we'll photo scan that thing in there. You don't have to show ID. You don't have to show anything. Hell, we don't even care if you put your dog in there, to be honest. You, your family, your distant cousins from Czechoslovakia, your dogs, got anybody anywhere else? Go ahead and put the dead ones in there. That would have been the only way they would have jumped up and down like, well, that's kind of a cool bill. But they can't ever say anything like that because they will never announce, kind of like the border right now, they cannot announce that they screwed it up or there's a victory for the other side. And in my piece that's coming out of America Deserves Better about you can't handle the truth, there's a quote in there that any opportunity you can, whoever your enemy is, for the Democrats, it's the Republicans, make it their fault, no matter what. No matter, even if it's good, you have to make it their fault. And that was a psychoanalysis done on Hitler, actually, was what they came out of it, the CIA did. So that is actually the playbook of what's going on. And I don't mean to compare things to Hitler and all that other stuff, but that is what it is they using that same psychoanalysis is, oh, we didn't pass the bill, so the Republicans did it, so it has to be bad. And this is why, because we can't think of a word. Hold on, let me think. Can't think. Racism. It's got to be racism.
Have you noticed that the new play from the left is if they pass a bill, then the Republicans are just trying to mess with things. They don't do things for the country. They're only doing it for their party. But the minute that the Republicans pass something or want something, it's racism, it's phobia, it's just Americans, it's just for citizens, it's not for everyone. It's the playbook. It's like this is seriously, I'm a football coach. This is like playing the same team every single week. They don't even change the players. It'd be like me playing, I'll just throw a name out there. Last year we played the Tyler Heat once. It'd be like me playing the Tyler Heat game 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to week 12, because the game plan, the playbook, the players are the same. The only difference is they just changed the name of the team. So it wouldn't be the Tyler Heat, and we'd start changing names, but inside that uniform, it's the Tyler Heat, the coaches, and everybody. So what I'm saying is all they're doing is just changing what they're complaining about, but it's the same complaint. Oh, they're racist. Oh, they don't care about kids. Oh, they're xenophobic. Oh, they're homophobic, transphobic. Next thing you know, to be Coca-phobic. Next thing you know, to be Pepsi-ophobic. Who knows? It's ridiculous. But what's more ridiculous about it is we got people that follow us. We got people on Facebook. We got people all over this country that believe that crap.
So, Coach, back in October, November, I wrote a Friday's Thought to Ponder. And it was, why can I not just disagree with the policy? And why do I have to demonize it? Because we have to demonize everything now. It can't be that, hey, Coach John Brent, I don't agree how you're thinking, and I just wasn't brought up that way, and I don't see eye to eye with you. I still like you, but I don't see eye to eye. Instead, now it has to be, oh, Coach John Brent is freaking damn biggest sinner in God's creation because he supported this bill. He's got to be racist with that, plus communist, plus socialist, and about 20 other things. Any derogatory thing you can think of, that's him, no matter what. And it could be the difference of you liking ice in your water and I like water. But because my party has to demonize you instead of disagreeing. I heard something the other day says, look, at the end of the day, there's a whole lot of people that voted on this Georgia bill. And apparently they got input from some of those big businesses now that are crapping their pants, that are boycotting things. And when they did, They said, hey, they went in there and they go, all the legislators, somebody brought up, says, hey, they see things this way, and this is what they wanted. And they see things this way, and they had the majority, and so that's what they wanted, and that's what they put in there. It wasn't that these people were bad, and it wasn't that these people were bad, but we're trying to make them bad at the end of the day, because we cannot tolerate just somebody having a difference of opinion than us, or maybe even a better idea than us. That would be bad, because I'm elected and I can't have that. Go ahead, Coach.
I'm a historian, and I guarantee you this much: the founders of this country would never, ever, ever believe that we would be this far apart. Even George Washington would said he was terrified of political parties and the division that could create. They were all about compromise. They were all about, okay, if I want this and you want that, let's just say I want 10 and you want 1. Okay, I'll tell you what, let's compromise to 5, because that's what America's about. It's taking both ideologies, both thought processes, and coming to an agreement. Those days are over. What has happened is what you're saying is correct, Vet, is this. Somebody comes up with an idea. If I don't agree with that idea, the reason I don't agree with that idea is because I'm racist, or I'm white privileged, or I'm a phobic of some sort, or I hate someone just because of them being transgendered or a skin color. It can't just be that that's my morality, that's my standard, and that's some of my belief is just different than yours. It's like if I were to say, let's go out to eat tonight, and you said, hey, I want to go to Roadhouse, and I say, hey, no, I want to go to Raising Cane's Chicken. Next thing you know, we're fist fighting in the parking lot because I'm calling you racist for chicken and you're calling me racist for steak. I mean, this is what we've gotten into. It sounds ridiculous, but it's not ridiculous. That's exactly what's going on. No one can just say, you know what, I don't like the bill. If we were in control, voters, let's make sure we take back control of the Senate in Georgia or Congress in Georgia. because, maybe we should expand this, but you know what? We understand that elections have consequences. The Republicans did expand a few things, but you know what? Let's make it better. Next time there's an election, let's go back and let's win back and do it our way. They can't even do that.
I totally agree. Is if it's a difference of opinion, then it has to be demonized. It cannot be anything else. And and then you have people that are blind. And I'm just going to read a blind statement here because I think it's funny when I saw it last night. Is let me see if I can find it here. And when it came to the president and his Pinocchio comment, I can't find the statement, but I believe him. I believe him. I'm sorry that you believe him so blindly, but he lied. There's no doubt about it. If you read the bill, he flat out lied, or he's misinformed, and which brings me to this. He should either apologize for lying or misleading the country and race baiting the country, or two, he needs to fire his public affairs officer that led him down that wrong lane, or his lawyer, one of the two. Now, we got to get back to this Major League Baseball thing here. Major League Baseball moved their venue from Atlanta, Georgia, to Denver, who has more constraints on voter laws than Georgia has just passed. So what the flip-flop? Not only that, only 9% of people from the Denver area is African-American, whereas 55% in Atlanta is. So we're not going to affect any businesses there, really. We're going to scratch the surface on that, and where Atlanta has a big pool of African-American, not compared to the 13% that's throughout the entire United States of America, unlike other ethnicities like Hispanics have 19%, but in Atlanta it's 55%. So you're going to go damage them. Let's go rub salt in the wound, and that's exactly what Major League Baseball did. But it's on the premise of two people, and those two people happen to be the POTUS and Stacey Abrams. They let them down that alley. They caused that because of their hyperbole of everything's Jim Crow. Hey, he didn't shake my hand right. It's got to be Jim Crow. Hey, he didn't drink water right. That's got to be Jim Crow. Hey, he likes Pepsi instead of Coke. It's got to be Jim Crow. Hey, he drives a Ford instead of a Chevy. It's got to be Jim Crow.
Yeah, can't be. Last thing I want to say on this, and we can move on, is because it's just like these people. We're just spinning wheels, saying the same thing over and over. It's just a different topic and a different issue. Is they have no argument. They can't decide to, just complain about the other side and give a better issue, a better idea, a better plan. They just have to look at what anything that the Republican does or anything that a conservative does and say, the only way that can be considered good for you or them is because you are racist and you're xenophobic or whatever the word you want to use for the day. Biden should apologize. Abrams should come back and say, no, we shouldn't do this, and get that, put people together, get Major League Baseball to change their decision. But what they're going to do, they're going to end up being AOC with Amazon, that those 10,000 people that lost those jobs that could have been jobs in New York that they needed at that time. They're going to come back and say, well, we stood up to the system. Well, what you did is you put people in unemployment line. That's what you did. Plain and simple, you put people out of work. And those people that could have worked in Atlanta, that $100 million pot that was there when this All-Star, you have to think about it. Major League Baseball is the All-Star game. The football and basketball are All-Star games, but everybody for 100 years, the All-Star game is baseball. That's $100 million you just left on the table and let it send somewhere else to another state that has worse laws than you. So there you go. Again, you're stupid.
Well, Coach, I'll say this is, if Stacey Abrams was half the person that we think she is, or she likes to portray herself, she would contact Major League Baseball commissioner and say, bring it back. Bring it back. I made a mistake. Bring it back. I eat crow. She would increase her standing in the community greatly and across the nation of America at that. Greatly. All she has to do is say, I made a mistake. I went a little overboard. I called something way off the deep end when it was only like that, that I actually disagreed with the water, and she could be a win-win for her. But will she do it? I doubt it, because they already announced the venue, and I don't think she's going to ever call them again, because she's like, and I don't think they'll probably even answer the phone, because she led them down this path. And as you and I both know, Major League Baseball ain't been faring too well as of last year, not like some of the other sports. And they couldn't afford this really. And this is a really kick in the junk for them, to be quite honest.
Well, everybody's terrified of their stuff being burned down, protest, kicked over, set on fire, because, we just allow it to happen and call it, it's just a peaceful protest. And, it's not a peaceful protest when people are terrified. People are making these kind of accusations against people, and they immediately go, okay, we got to release a statement or they're going to protest. I heard something today, and I want to make this my last point. I listen to all radio stations on Sirius when it comes to news, and there's a guy on there on the Urban channel. I think it's 126. And his name's Joe Madison. He actually had a caller call in and say, I want us to boycott Frito-Lay in Houston. He's like, why Houston? That has nothing to do with Georgia. He goes, well, they have not released a statement yet that they're against the Georgia law. So I want to right now start boycotting the Houston company of Frito-Lay because they haven't released a statement. There goes your pressure. There goes your pressure. You have to believe what I believe, or, hey, we boycott you. This country's gone crazy.
No, I agree, Coach. We've lost our damn minds. We'd like to boycott everything. I just like everybody to go to work.
Damn minds.
Just damn it, go to work. Just go to work.
Hey, right now, there's a sign here. There's a sign here in White House at McDonald's said, please be patient because we got people that don't want to work here. And you know why they don't want to work? Because unemployment pays more than what they're making there. So hell no, they're not going to work because the government is taking care of way too many people when they should have your butt out there working. Don't get me started on that. We better go.
Yeah. So, hey, Coach. So tomorrow night, Tuesday night at 8 o'clock,
yes,
we are going to be live, and we're going to have Derek Douglas and Rebecca Chavaria from California there. Derek Douglas, a Pittsburgh High School graduate alumni, and Rebecca Chavaria, Delta Dog, Mighty 701st alumni coming out of California. And we're going to hear some great things, and it should be interesting, to be quite honest. What do you think, Coach?
Oh, it's going to be great. You have such a difference of people there, different parts of the country, different, thoughts and ideas. And that's what the country needs. We need to talk about things. We need to be different. We want different opinions. We're going to learn something from Derek, as I call Petey, and we're going to get this person on there with us. It's going to be a great time. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Be there.
So with that, I think it's time to go. So for the coach.
And to the vet.
Stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned.